Yo, it's Kurimeo. It's 2020, believe it or not. Yo, Popo Vu Dakota says the Bible. Yo, Mechek anointed disciple. I'm in the hood, return as it cons the cycle. Holding weight, knowledge, and rifle. Come back, win again like Michael. Not black, Negro, African, no titles. We kings and queens, chief, we keep it tribal. Wakanda, Jaguar, warrior, we jungle. Fight back for this land like the Django. Secret orders, I in the rectangle. Confuse the tongue so you babble. Dog backwards, the jackal. Told a lie, took over the tabernacle. They brought guns, no match for the bow and arrow. Civilization to put us in shackles. Disease and plagues, and we stumbled. Religion and God so we can be tranquil. But now the seals are open, the knowledge is ample. We remember from believing to factual. You are the book, children of the Bible. Wakan Tanka, the gig is up. Pull your pants up. Hey yeah, 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 hey yeah. Yahwa, hey ya, hey ya, yo hey wa, yeah yeah, hey ya, alelo, alelo, hey ya, 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 hey ya.
All right, so real quick, just want to go ahead and start with sign here, just so we can get theme going of this video, and so we can just get a clear perspective. We gotta dodge our own hijack, and I know it's hard. Like we see old images in black and white to tell who's who. We see long hair. We see people with chinky eyes. What they call Asian or Chinese eyes, and long hair. So we just like. So I found this book. It's talking about, well, it's from the Library of Congress, it says here, Motion Picture Broadcast and Recorded Sound Division. All right, music of the American Indians. It says the Great Basin, Paiute, Washoe, Ute, the Bannock, and Shoshone from the Archives of Folk Culture. Interested in this picture. When I saw it, I'm like, wow. All right, now just take a look of it from far away. All right. Now, remember, these are like what you would consider Plains Indians. All right. Now, I want to zoom in. All right. All right. Now, look at this person right here. All right. Now, is that a Mongol? Or is that a so-called Negro? How we look at these pictures and we assume that all the Plains people are only Mongols and all that, but the whole Americas was copper colored tribes. All right, and hair, all the Indians are not going to look the same in the Americas. All right, they're not supposed to. So big, the American continent. We're talking about South Central America, North America, the Caribbean, the Arctic regions. It's vast, it's huge. So many people, so many nations, thousands and thousands and millions of people. And so they're not all going to look the same. They're not all going to have the same hair. They're not all going to have the same features, same complexion. All right, and remember, this is the true old world. So most of the people span from here, not the other way around. So we do know that there was migrations that came here way after, but we know in general, all right, Cradle Civilization here. All right, first laying out of the water. All right, first people that do agriculture, which helped create civilizations. That was here, maize, corn. All right, first pyramids, first mummies, science, language. All right, this is Atlantis. All right, so just wanted to show this. Now look at this Aboriginal right here. All right, he got a perm. I mean, he got long hair and everything, but that's, you know, you cut his hair, you put him in the hood, you won't even know the difference. He'd be classified as an African American. So would his friend right here, right next to him. All right. Just see if I can zoom in. All right. They're all copper colored, and they're very dark. You know, darker than a lot of so-called African Americans. You know, so you know, we gotta try to have a clear perspective, and we gotta like be careful. You know, when we're generalizing, when we're saying whole tribes are Mongols, and that all the people in this specific region are Mongols. You know, because I mean, you might be right, but you know, we have to prove this. And you know, we have to really think about it. You know, like, I mean, look at these Aboriginals right here. Look at this brother right here. He would be classified as an African American today. Cut his hair, put him in the hood, walking down the block with his Timbs, Jordans, got his hoodie. You wouldn't even never say this person's a Mongol. All right, but he's a Plains Indian. All right, so you know, in this video we're going to show a lot of images. We're going to show a lot of different peoples, different nations, tribes that were here. Obviously not all of them. It's just what's in this book this brother put together. I'm going to let you know who that was, and you guys already do know or about him. All right, so just want to make sure that you have a clear perspective. You know, I'm not trying to push any agenda. I'm trying to push a Mongol thing. My last video, you know, a lot of people said I was just showing Mongols, but if you haven't seen it, go watch it and you decide for yourself. I mean, I start out with the Shinnecock. You're saying the Shinnecock are Mongols? You're saying the Wampanoag are Mongols, the Narragansett? I showed a lot of East Coast tribes, and I showed some very dark-skinned Shoshone and Yuchi people from northern Mexico, southwestern. These were so-called Negroes, all right, in that last video. And yes, there was images of Mongols, but that's the documentary that was playing, all right? You want me to edit everything out, man? I want you to hear everything the guy's saying. I wanted you to pay attention to what the guy was saying about the American Holocaust and how the Aborigines were being treated. Even though they were throwing other images at you, we already know how to dodge the hijack, because that happens to us every day. It still does today, all right? There's an overall agenda. It's not my agenda. I'm trying to wake you up, trying to make you see, right? You were there too. You were in the plains. You were in Central America. You still are. You are in South America, in the Creole, all over the world. You were in Europe, all right? Everywhere, Asia, everywhere. Not just Africa. All right, now, my channel is about the Aborigines, about the indigenous history of the Americas. All right, this is not personal. All right, so nobody here has an agenda. We're just speaking foundational truth. All right, a lot of brothers out here teaching, putting up good information, good videos, a lot of good work. You know, we were missing this before. We had to just rely on certain people, just keep teaching us about the same old things over and over. Africa this, Africa that, Asia this, Asia that. Or maybe they're Australians. So they were saying you were from everywhere else except here. While behind your backs, they're taking your land and your whole identity, so you'll never claim it back. All right, because again, as you see here, copper-colored tribes of America, Aboriginals. All right, we know the Aboriginals of Australia had long hair too, so they were really dark. All right, same thing here. All right, I'm not saying all Indians look like this and they're supposed to have this. I'm just telling you, these are Indians too. You gotta be careful when you say Mongols. All right, but you may be right about some of them, and I would say Asian, Siberians, later on. All right. All right. So let's just go ahead and go into this video. Hey, Shalom. Much love and blessings to everybody tuned in. Hope everybody's doing well. And hope you guys like this one. I got another book from our friends at the N.A.A.S, which is the North American Aboriginal Society of Canada. All right, and they have blessed us again once more with hard work, a lot of dedication, something for all of us to basically have as reference and learn from. All right, something that was much needed because a lot of these images were scattered all over the internet. Now we can get a name behind the face. And again, we're talking about the Book of North American Tribes, Chiefs, Warriors, and Their Stories. Portraits 200 years after colonization, circa 1800s. All right. So remember, yes, so a lot of this is after the 1800s when cameras came out. Doesn't mean it's gonna portray how you want it to be portrayed, but you gotta dodge your own hijack, dodge your own prejudices, and when you have a theory of what people may be, you need to prove that. All right, so if you think somebody is from Africa, you need to prove that. If you think somebody is from Mongolia, you need to prove that. From Asia, you need to prove that. I'm just gonna go ahead and show what's in this book. All right, you dodge your own hijack. Again, this is the true old world. We had every phenotype here, but you're gonna see a general copper color here. You're gonna see a lot of phenotypes that you recognize, and I'm not gonna say some of these people are not mixed, but you gotta be able to prove. Don't generalize. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna generalize. All right. And I know this brother who did this book went through a lot of work to get this completed, so we can have this. We can show the children, spread this, share it. All right. And these are like all of the. You got all these tribes here represented. That is the Crow, the Hidatsa, the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Blackfoot, Pikuni, the Pagan, or Paijan, Kainai, the Siksika, the Sioux, Assiniboine, or Assiniboine, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, the Sikangu, the Brule, the Yankton, the Sihasapa, the Hunk Papa, the Comanche, the Apache, the Seminole, the Tarahumara, the Seneca, Pueblo, the Ojibwa, the Chippewa, the Choctaw, the Omaha, the Jamaica, that sounds like Jamaica, right? Jamaica, Ute, Paiute or Paiute, Pamunkey, the Catawba, the Narragansett people, the Wampanoag people, the Pokanoket people, Chickahominy, the Gros Ventre, the Creek, the Muskogee, the Pawnee, the Arikara, the Iroquois, the Mashpee, Mataponi, Sauk, Fox, Shinnecock, Kickapoo, Shoshone, Tohonee, Odham, the Wasco, the Wishram, the Yokut, the Salinan, the Skitswish, the Coeur d'Alene, the Spakani, the Miniconju, the Modoc, the Nez Perce, Navajo, the Quechan, the Maricopa, Kalispel, Flathead, and Salish. All these tribes are going to be represented here in photographs. All right, brother put this together, and again, dodge your own hijack with your own prejudices. If you're going to generalize, you need to prove it. All right, because this is the true old world, and I got a lot of videos coming out about who the true Russians were, who the true Mongols are, and all these, so we can gain a better understanding. All right, we're talking about also looking at chronology, right, and when they were supposed to cross over here. But then we got all these tribes that you say are Mongol that's been here way before they supposedly these Asian migrations came, right, or this invasion in the 12th, 13th century by Mongols. All right, so who are Mongols? All right, so that's a future video. But again, I want you to focus more importantly You're gonna see pictures here that you would have never thought you see, or people that you would never think are Indian, right? Because of your way you were raised. They told you that if he looks like a Negro, he has dark complexion, he's most likely an African, right? Or an escaped slave that joined the American Indians. And that's totally false. We've been able to debunk that. Not just me, but different brothers out there teaching this and putting the truth out there. All right. Big ups to everybody who's putting in that work. Whatever our differences are, it doesn't matter. As long as we're being of value to everybody and the children are waking up. And so we can make a change for the better, all right? And as long as your heart is true, I got no beef with you. I got no troubles with you. But if you're here scheming, you're just doing this for attention, trying to make money. I mean, I don't think this is, it's not going to work out, because this is a spiritual thing. All right, this is a spiritual awakening, not just physically. And the Most High Creator, He's gonna put the people that He needs to put in as leaders, and people are gonna know who's real and not, and realness is gonna see realness. So if you're out there faking it, you will get exposed. You'll expose yourself. All right, again, dodge your own hijack. Stop the hate. All right, stop generalizing. All right, because there was many peoples here when they got here. This is all recorded. Light-skinned people, the lightest pale copper, or the lightest copper to the darkest hue copper. All right, really dark, what you would call really black, so-called black. All right. So now, again, this is the book of North American tribes, chiefs, warriors, and their stories. Portraits 200 years after colonization, circa 1800s. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this whole book, because it's big and has a lot of info about a lot of the chiefs photographed in this book. All right. Again, this book has been compiled by the North American Aboriginal Society of Canada for educational purposes only. All right. All right, so before I continue, again, I just want to give a big ups, much love, much props to our brother, a family here who took the time to do this and pile these images together and get the info all together for us in one book. Again, this is the N.A.A.S. This is the website that he has, is N.A.A.S of Canada.blogspot.com. All right, if you come here, you can get the book there yourself. All right, it'll bring you to the archive.org website where you can download it. Here's the link. He uploaded it there for the whole world, not just us, but the whole world, so they can, get educated, and they can know who the American indigenous people are and what, they look like in some, in most cases, at least in the 1800s, by that time. But again, they didn't take pictures of everybody, but what we got, he was able to compile, as much as he could. All right. So here you go. This is the website again. This is the same brother that gave us the allegory of the continents, the people of the 4 continents that we were comparing, right? As you can see, the American right here, right? And then they showed the African, the American. So these are side by side, and these are the 4. Well, actually, there's 8 volumes, right, that he made. We went over these, right, all the way from volume 1. So again, now he has this book available for you to have. I'll post a link in the description as well. Again, it's N.A.S of Canada, N.A.A.S of Canada.blogspot.com. All right, support and enjoy the book. Because the North American Aboriginal Society, N.A.A.S, is a fraternity of brothers and sisters from North America, Turtle Island, who gather, translate, and compile old books, artwork, literature, iconography, etc. Everything that has been documented throughout the world regarding the true history of Aboriginal peoples of America, or what some might call the American Indian. We are a non-profit organization formed solely on uplifting, reunifying, and re-educating descendants of the American Indian Aboriginal about their true lineage. All right, so they do so much work, he does so much work, and he shares it openly. This is what support. All right, so I just want to read a little bit of the introduction here, just before we get to the images. Now it says, all the information added in this first few pages will give you a brief understanding on what was going on in America before, during, and after these photos were taken. All right, because he's going to go into a lot of things before he actually gets to the pictures. All right, it will explain why most of the images in this book don't match your typical Hollywood Indian that was used as propaganda through all privately owned and government controlled media outlets who broadcasted American entertainment around the globe and continue to this day. You will understand how racial classification was used to segregate and cause war amongst the tribes. Later, disassociate any American Indian who had dark skin from the American continent and mentally connect them with the continent of Africa. Alright? That's what's happening to you. During that time, majority of the African continent was still unexplored until the 1800s, long after slavery allegedly began in America. All images viewed should give you a clear understanding of each tribe and their customs, how they dressed, how each tribe varied from each other, physically and phenotypically. American Indians are just as diverse as one might see on the continents of Africa and Asia. Alright, diverse. They don't all look the same. Before European contact, American Indians varied from the lightest of reddish browns to the darkest, hence the term copper color races of America. This book is not set out to prove which race occupied America first before European contact, which seems to be the argument. Alright, that's what everybody's always arguing. Alright, and generalizing, right? Like, oh, he must be Asian. Oh, yeah, he must be Japanese. Oh, he must be from Africa. Because they see, certain features. But that's generalizing. You're just, you're just guessing. This book is set out to show that that America is a very diverse continent, and there's substantial amount of proof out there many scholars and historians choose to ignore, that there were two articular races who coexisted in America during first contact. Knowing the consequences it could have on today's government, institutions that teach otherwise and depend on this information to stay hidden for American to continue as it has for America. All right. Majority of these photos were taken from mid 1800s to early 1900s, and you can thank Edward S. Curtis and everyone who took the time to upload them, as well as personal and government archived photos, or this book wouldn't be possible. Know that there are 10,000 wax cylinder recordings of American Indian languages, music, tribal lore, and histories. 40,000 photographic images of members from over 80 tribes from late 1800s to early 1900s, many that are stored away and owned personally by J.P. Morgan. So does he have the real ones? He has some images probably that they didn't want us to see, so he bought them all. He bought all these images. Why does he have all these images? What is he doing with them? Where's the museum he built? In 2020, the copyright runs out and hopefully enters the public domain in the near future. You hear that? They're about to release all the pictures in 2020 that JP Morgan has. 40,000, over 80 tribes. Alright? Interesting to see what they haven't released. All the ones we've been seeing in the internet are not the ones that he has stored up. We haven't seen them yet. So again, he's saying in 2020 the copyright runs out and hopefully enters the public domain in the near future. We will try our best to bring as much of these images and hopefully recordings as possible, so you can get a better understanding of what really happened in the early days of American colonization. So I think we're for a lot more surprises, and a lot of people is going to be shocked. There is some pictures in this volume that are compelling, and you can't deny it. All right, so want to get to the images. Just want to read that introduction. So again, this book, the very first pages after the introduction is just a lot of information, a lot of background actually. Done a very good job of putting this information together. Like for example, British colonization of the Americas. He talks about it. Background, early exploration, colonization of the Americas. All right. Early colonization from 1607, 1630. All right, we gone over all this video, most of this information on my videos. All right, so make sure to take the time to go ahead and read this. There's a lot of good info here. All right. Growth in the 1630s, 1689. Establishment of 13 colonies. New England colonies, Southern colonies. All right, and then we got what says here, first Africans in English America. All right, so 1619 lie, the 1619 lie. All right, we already broke that down. He has a copy here of a census record. All right, you can take a look at that. And he talks about it. The middle colonies, the Hudson Bay Company, the Darien Scheme, Expansion and conflict, 1689 1763. All right, so a lot of good info here. Dysantan Revolution. All right, establishing the Dominion of Canada. All right, British Honduras and Falkland Islands. Decolonization, overseas territories. All right, a lot of good info. All right, mass European immigration to the United States, 1790 to 1849. All right, there's a brief history here of land transfers between American Indians and the United States government. All right, I want to just read it. All right, again, still in the book, which is called the Book of North American Tribes, Chiefs, Warriors, and Their Stories from the North American Aboriginal Society of Canada. All right, so right here we're with the Sioux, now the Sioux people. All right, or Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota people. All right. So real quick, just some information on the Sioux. It says here the Sioux, right, are groups of American Indian tribes and First Nations people in North America. The term is an exonym created from a French transcription of the Anishinaabe term N.A.A.S and can refer to any ethnic group within the Great Sioux Nation or to any of the nation's many language dialects. The modern Sioux consists of two major divisions based on language divisions, the Dakota and Lakota. Before the 17th century, the Santi Dakota, I Sanyati, or Knife, also known as the Eastern Dakota, lived around Lake Superior, which territories in present-day northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. They gathered wild rice, hunted woodland animals, and used canoes to fish. Wars with the Ojibwe throughout the 1700s pushed the Dakota into southern Minnesota, where the Western Dakota, or Yanktonai, and Teton, Lakota, were residing. In the 1800s, the Dakota signed treaties with the United States, ceding much of their land in Minnesota. Failure of the United States to make treaty payments on time as well as low food supplies led to the Dakota War of 1862, which resulted in the Dakota being exiled from Minnesota to numerous reservations in Nebraska, North and South Dakota, and Canada. After 1870, Dakota people began to return to Minnesota, creating the present-day reservations in the state. The Yankton and Yanktonai Dakota, or the Ihangtuwang, or Inkhangtuwangna village at the end, and little village at the end, collectively also referred to by the edonym Wishayana, resided in the Minnesota River area before ceding their land and moving to South Dakota in 1858. Despite ceding their lands, their treaty with the U.S. government allowed them to maintain their traditional role in the Osheti Sakowing as caretakers of the Pipestone Quarry, which is the cultural center of the Sioux people. They are considered to be the Western Dakota, also called Middle Sioux, and have in the past been erroneously classified as Nakota. The actual Nakota are the Assiniboine and Stoney of Western Canada and Montana. The Lakota, also called Teton or Tituan, possibly dwellers on the prairie, are the Westernmost Sioux, known for their hunting and warrior culture. With the arrival of the horse in the 1700s, the Lakota would become the most powerful tribe on the plains by the 1850s. They fought the United States Army in the Sioux Wars, including defeating the 7th Cavalry Regiment at the Battle of Little Bighorn. The armed conflict with the U.S. ended with the Wounded Knee Massacre. Alright, so there's more info here. Alright, it goes into the etymology. Alright, so make sure you get all this dropped on your own. We're going to go into some images now. Alright, so right away I want to start out with this Aboriginal, this Sioux. Alright, so-called Sioux is Chief High Eagle. Chief High Eagle. Alright, you see that? Now let me zoom in. Who is that? You're telling me that's not an Aboriginal, copper-colored, indigenous Amaru Khan? Alright, you see that? Look at his headdress. Look at him. All right. Look at that. That's an ancestor right there of yours. All right. That's high eagle. All right. Let me just go to the next image. It's the same one, just in black and white. So Chief Eagle of the Oglala Lakota. All right. Chief Eagle of the Oglala Lakota. All right. Copper-colored tribes of America. They reclassified you as Negro, right? Black. Now they're calling you African American. So if this person was walking in the neighborhood today, in your neighborhood, in the hood, or wherever in America, he would be classified as an African American. That's what I'm saying. So they add the African right there to totally remove you from this land. All right, but look at this. Can anybody dispute this? All right, Chief High Eagle. Honor to the ancestors. Chief High Eagle. All right, Chief High Eagle with his breastplate. All right. This is Chief Red Fox, a Sioux Indian, says here 1900. All right. Chief Red Fox. Just back up a little bit. Look at that. Just notice the clothing, the fringes, all this gear. What do you think it all means? Gotta go dig into all that. All right. And who's hijacking this today? All right. Again, that's Chief Red Fox, a Sioux Indian. Hey ya. All right. We got this next image here. It says that these are Monden Sioux Indians at the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota. All right. Let me just zoom in a little, well, a lot. See. All right. So look at these two individuals right here. You can't deny these are Aboriginals, copper-colored tribes of America. All right. So again, these are Monden Sioux. Remember, there's so many different tribes under these Dakota, Lakota, Dakota. All right. And you can see this Aboriginal right here. Copper-colored, so-called Negro right here. All right. They all don't look the same, but that's what it is to be in a tribe. All right. These are all Aboriginals right here. All right. Monden Sioux Indians, all right, at Standing Rock Reservation. In this image right here, we got, says here, Sioux Chiefs at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. The chiefs from left to right. So we got High Hawk right here. We have Jack Red Cloud right here. We have Blue Horse and Little Wound. All right, photographed by Francis B. Johnson from 1901. All right, and let me just zoom in a little bit for you. All right, you see, colored tribes of America. All right. All right, right here we got Loon, which is a Lakota Sioux Warrior. All right. Don't say the year. Copper colored tribes of America. A little bit. Who is that? Do you remember who you are? All right. A Lakota Sioux Warrior, Loon. All right. Hey. All right, Loon, Lakota Sioux. All right, now we have here a Black Hills Sioux Warrior. All right, Now look at this. Do you remember who you are? Alright, copper-colored tribes of America who got misclassified or reclassified as a colored person or Negro, black. They made you a crayon when you had a tribal identity, an ancient tribal identity. Alright, with his hair relaxer, he got his hair down. Alright, just back up. You can see the whole thing. Alright, so do you remember who you are? Look at that. Sioux. Alright? Take a close look. Alright, this next image, this is what we got. So this is another Sioux. Let's see if we get some text here. It says Martin Thunderhawk from the Oglala, Lakota, 1867 to 1959. He lived, I guess. Wow, look at that. That's your own hijack. Copper-colored tribes of America, Aboriginal, Oglala, Lakota. Now we're going to see Thundercloud. Alright, so Thundercloud Sioux Warrior from 1907. Alright, look at that. Thundercloud Sioux, copyright 1907. Alright, the writing over here. Alright, you want to call him a Mongol? Really? Just because he has long hair? Straightened a little bit? It's relaxed. It's nice and moist. Taken care of. Look at that. It's not no Mongol. And if you really think so, you gotta prove it. Talking about Aboriginals, copper-colored tribes of America. We're talking about the ancient ones. Alright? Just look at all their gear. Who do they resemble when we read these ancient texts or codices? We're talking about clothing, what they wore. Alright? Again, this is Thundercloud, a Sioux warrior from 1907, this picture. Heya, heya. Do you remember who you are? The copper-colored tribes of America. Webster's Dictionary, 1828. Alright, so this is the next image. It says, a postcard of Thundercloud, Sioux warrior at Buffalo Bill's Wild West shows, 1908. Continue to the next page for a clearer picture, but check it out. Let's look at this. Alright, you see that? Look how dark he looks. Alright, this person we just saw. And his white horse, right? Immaculate. Alright, look at his moccasins. With the top of the cross. The cardinal points. Alright. Got this cowboy back here looking at him like, look at Thundercloud. So majestic. Alright, this is the postcard. See this? He's on the back. He became a postcard. Alright, let's just go to the bigger image. Look at this, man. Red Cloud. I'm sorry, Thundercloud. Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, 1908. Do you remember? Look at this Aboriginal. They would call him an African American today. They would call him black. He ain't over there saying black power. He's not saying black power. He's not saying he's a descendant of a slave. He's not calling himself a Negro. He's not calling himself colored. He knows he's a tribal, indigenous, and Aboriginal. He knows that. He don't call himself that, but he knows he's of the Sioux tribe. He knows he's been there, his family, his ancestors, for thousands of years in this continent. He knows he didn't come on no slave ships. He knows he's not from any part of Africa. He's been here thousands of years, his ancestors, all right? This is Thundercloud. Do you remember who you are? Did they ever show you an Indian like this when you were in elementary school? I'm 38, all right? So I was in, elementary school, you know, like a little bit in the late 80s, but then almost all the 90s, you know. Well, not all of them, but you know, I was there in the 90s up to, and then, high school. I graduated in 2000. All right, so I was, they never showed me a picture of an Indian like this, an American Indian. Don't want to call it, but that's what they're legally referred to as today. But he knows he's a Sioux. He knows he's an Amaru Khan, snake people, feathered serpent. All right, don't forget this, man. Thundercloud, take a screenshot. All right, get the book. Go look at it yourself. This is in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. They were parading him around. All right. All right, so we're gonna see Charging Thunder right now. Charging Thunder, it says here. All right, let's go back. Hold on, let me back up a little bit. All right, there's a lot of people in this picture. All right, let me see. Okay, I see what's going on. So let me just zoom into Charging Thunder. All right. Okay. This right here is Charging Thunder. You see something in his mouth? Well, this is him right here. You see? All right, the darkest person in there in complexion, right? I mean, look at him, and then look at this white guy right here, pale guy. All right. I don't know if this is Buffalo Bill, whatever cowboy in those days. These pretenders. All right. But look at the complexion of this person, Charging Thunder, and this one too, right next to him. These are two Aboriginals right here. All right. Just zoom in again. Now just look at these two right here. So these are Sioux, I'm assuming. Charging Thunder's a Sioux because we're still talking about the Sioux. Just look at this guy's complexion compared to Charging Thunder, one of your ancestors, all right, in the cut. All right, so I'm going to go to another image, which is him. Look at the top and the cross right here. All right, let me go down. So hold on, let me just read the text. It says, Uglala, Sioux Chief, Charging Thunder, 5th from left rear. All right, 5th from left rear. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, him. All right, left rear. With troops and his wife, Josephine, left front. All right, so that's her. Many shades. All right. And then it says, who toured Salford at the turn of the century with Buffalo Bill in 1887. So I think this is Buffalo Bill right here. All right, this clown right here. I don't know, man, if he was a bad person, but I don't trust him. I don't think he was. Anyways, now we're going to look. Now, this is Charging Thunder in his attire, right? His indigenous attire. And then now we got Charging Thunder without it. All right. He became a Negro, right? He became a freed black. What is it? A free people of color? An African American today. He would be called an African American today. All right, but this is him right here. This is him. See, your whole mind. You see people with long hair and stuff. All right. You see people with long hair, you be like, oh, those are Mongols. So now he got his hair cut. He got regular clothes on. And now he's a Negro. Right? Now he's a Negro. But this is Charging Thunder. All right. Now let me just read a little bit about Charging Thunder. All right. Since there's info here on him. It says, born into the dying days of American Indian culture. As the white man's appetite for land pushed further and further west in 1890, Lakota Sioux brave Charging Thunder joined the Ghost Dance cult. The movement promised to reunite the living with spirits of their dead forefathers, bring the spirits of the dead to fight on their behalf, make the white colonists leave, and bring peace, prosperity, and unity to native peoples throughout the American plains. Spooked by the rise of the cult, the U.S. government sent troops onto reservations, resulting eventually in the massacre at Wounded Knee. Alright, the death of Chief Sitting Bull and the arrest of many of his followers, including young Charging Thunder. He was young there. He was being led by who? Sitting Bull. Let me just go to Sitting Bull real quick because he's in here. I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, that's a Mongol right away. You know, Sitting Bulls. This is the image they like to give us of the American Indians when we know that, right? Right? This is Chief Sitting Bull, but we know they don't all look like him. There was many different types of, of people here. Now, he can be more Asian and mixed, yes, I might agree. But then I also might want to research that, before generalizing, all right? And either though he was here as an American Indian and he was fighting with who? Charging Thunder, right? Charging Thunder was with him. All right, Charging Thunder. Let's just go back. Let me just get the image again. All right, so he was Charging Thunder right here, right? This Aboriginal right here, this so-called Negro now, in his regular clothes. What happened? He was captured. All right. He was arrested. Many of his followers, who? Sitting Bull's followers, a young Charging Thunder, embarrassed by the bad publicity this engendered. Buffalo Bill, who's despite his later reputation, I told you, later reputation, had more understanding and sympathy for native ways than most, offered the U.S. government and the arrested Indians a way out. Come to Europe with my Wild West show, he said, and many simply to avoid imprisonment were happy to follow. All right, now you got the inside story. Now you're seeing why they're allowing this guy to parade themselves. All right, he's allowing Charging Thunder, so-called Negro, this Aboriginal, this Amaru Khan is letting this guy parade him around in Europe and America because he had no choice. It was that or go to prison. What would you do? All right, back up again. What would you do? What would you do? Look at this. That's you. He was in Sitting Bull's army, right? He was. Let me go back to this guy, Thundercloud. What? Buffalo Bill's Wild West shows, 1908. Oh, now we know why he was letting him get paraded around or exhibit him as like an exhibit, right? Because it was that or imprisonment. These were the people. These were the people they arrested, survivors of Wounded Knee. All right? These are the survivors. And also, I bet you eventually, well, I don't know if he did, but you take this person, this chief right here, Thundercloud, all right? And you take off the headdress, you put on some regular clothes, shorten his hair, you're going to call him an African-American, Negro, so-called black. All right, but right here, you might see him next to some other Indians that have longer hair and stuff, and you might say, these are all Mongols. You're including him in it. All right? But, Charging Thunder, that's you. All right? Let me just read a little bit more. So, in November of 1891, Buffalo Bill and his troop, among them Kicking Bear, a nephew of Crazy Horse, all right? They killed Crazy because he was such a rebel. Long Bull, Iron Tail, Short Bull, No Neck, and Charging Thunder set up camp in Dennistown, proving a huge hit with the Glasgow public. You hear that? Yo, you better entertain these people or you're going to prison. It says, Come Hug Monet, Charging Thunder, far from home and surrounded by savages. That's you and me. Must have been feeling a bit homesick as he went out on the lash, returned to the campsite, and assaulted one of the interpreters, George Krager, hitting him over the head with a war club. Oh. Hauled off to Tobago Street Police Station in the Carlton Port. Poor Charging Thunder can't have been the only one with a sore head, and when he was hauled before a sheriff on January 12th, once in the dark, Charging Thunder pled guilty to assault, claiming his lemonade had been spiked with whiskey. You see that? So you see what Charging Thunder did? He wasn't playing, yo. So somebody or this dude that he hit, right, spiked his lemonade. He was trying to get him drunk, trying to get him addicted to liquor, trying to get him drunk. They were spiking. You see, they were putting liquor in your lemonade, and he found out. And what he do? He went and took care of him. All right. He assaulted him and says, who this George Krager who spiked his lemonade? He hit him with his war club. You were like, yo, F this dude, man. Go teach him a lesson. So you don't ever think about putting liquor in my lemonade. How would you feel if you're really thirsty, right? And you want a cold, nice glass of lemonade, and you take a big gulp, and all you taste is liquor, some whiskey, right? And you're not expecting that. Wouldn't you be mad? Would you go hit him with a war club? All right. So what happened to him? Poor Sergeant Thunder. All right. It says he pled guilty to assault, claiming his lemonade had been spiked with whiskey. Sadly, he was unable to identify which Gallowgate pub he had been drinking in. The sheriff sentenced him to 30 days in Barlini. He got 30 days. Who's getting time? Who's getting time? All right, this so-called Negro who was who was Sergeant Thunder, who was probably would have become a chief, but he was never allowed to because he was taken young while he was in the Wounded Knee battle under Sitting Bull. All right, so he got 30 days. He got time. He got time. This ain't no African. All right, just read a little bit. After his release, he rejoined the show, but that's not where his story ends. When the troop returned to the States, sailing from Mavis Bank, Kauai, there were U.S. soldiers on the dock in New York to rearrest the ghost dancers. So they got rearrested. Come 1903, when Buffalo Bill returned to the UK, Sergeant Thunder was only too happy to accompany him. When the show arrived in Salford near Manchester, Sergeant Thunder spat the dummy, deciding to marry Josephine, one of the American horse trainers in the show. All right. And remain in the UK, changing his name to George Edward Williams. Oh, now he ain't Sergeant Thunder no more. Now he's George Edward Williams. He worked for many years at Manchester's Bellevue Circus, looking after the elephants. His favorite heffalump was called Nellie, and according to his family, when Sergeant Thunder got drunk, he would go to the circus, climb in with the elephants, and sleep off his hangover. You see this? You hear all this, right? No doubt dreaming of the plains of his childhood. Very sad, man. He was in Wounded Knee. All right, he got taken and he had to go do shows for them. With Nellie standing guard over him, Sergeant Thunder died from pneumonia in 1929 at the age of 52. His body is buried in Gorton Cemetery. Alright? Now that's the story of Sergeant Thunder. Alright? That's so messed up. Right? Now this next image, it says here we got Louis Firetail. This is a Crow Creek Sioux. Alright? All these Crow Creek Sioux wearing tribal clothing in American History class, Hampton Institute in Hampton, Virginia. This is in the late 1840s from the Library of Congress. All right. So look at this. We also got so-called black students in this class, or Aboriginals. So actually, these are all American Indians. This is most likely a mission. All right. Now, let me just zoom in. All right. Dodge the hijack. This is Louis Firetail. All right. In this classroom full of Indians. This classroom full of Indians. They're like, hey, look at this. And they're like, whoa, an Indian. They forgot who they were. All right. Well, they're like, oh, I remember when my ancestors dressed like that. Or maybe that's just been too many years since they've been disconnected and called a servant, or a citizen, or free person of color, or Negro. Alright? So this is another image now. We got Chief Star, a Lakota Sioux from 1900. Alright, look at this. Chief Star. Alright. zoom in a little bit. Chief Star. Lakota Sioux. Look at that. Copper-colored tribes of America. Hey ya, hey ya. Chief Star. Do you remember who you are? Are you starting to remember? All right, now this image right here, it says the Sioux Ghost Dance. It says taking a census at the Standing Rock Reservation, Dakota Territory, 1880s. All right, so we know about Standing Rock because of what happened recently, right? Do we know the history there and the people who were there originally? All right, because right from here, I see a lot of copper-colored Aboriginals right away. Let me just zoom in. Let me just zoom in. All right, look at this. All right, all I see is Aboriginals. That's all I see that were living there in the 1800s. All right, you see that? Look at this. What you would call an African American today. All right, so be honest. Like you go to today to these reservations, they're not. Look at the general. I mean, this is almost all of them are very dark complexion. It's not like one or two or three of them. It's all of them. All right, so now today you see an opposite. All right, you see a lot of light-skinned, American Indians now in these reservations. All right, but you can see here. So what happened over the years? It's like they got whitened out, right? Or bred out, or these were put into captivity as servants. All right, some others took, descendants of, other people, but you can see, I'm not just trying to be disrespectful or anything, but I mean, you gotta use your senses. Look at this. These are all Aboriginals. All right, Standing Rock Reservation. Not the same people you see there today. I mean, at least personally, this is my opinion, right? I'm trying to use my senses here. All right. All right. So Sioux ghost dancers. They're taking a census.